Breaking news this morning, new evacuation orders overnight in the Palisades fire all the way to the 405 as these winds just continue to push flames towards homes.
I talked to a fireman once. This is one of the reasons that freaked me out. And he was telling me, he goes, dude, one day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind and fire's going to start in the right place and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean. And there's not a thing we can do about it. I go, really? He goes, yeah, we just get lucky. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it. Because these fires are so big, dude. When they're talking about like thousands of acres that are burning simultaneously with like 40-mile-an-hour winds. And the wind's just blowing embers through the air, and those embers are landing on roofs, and those houses are going up, and they're landing on bushes, and those bushes are going up, and everything's dry. And once it happens in a way where it's so spread out that there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do.
You just have to evacuate, right?
Nothing they can do.
That continue to burn all across Southern California this morning. The largest is the deadly Palisades fire. There's also the Eaton fire, of course, in Altadena, that also was fatal, following by the Hearst fire, the Kenneth fire, and the Archer fire. The good news there is that progress has been slowed.
The Palisades fire continues to expand this morning with only 11% containment. Sadly, 5 people have lost their lives, but even sadder, the death toll will likely be higher.
Los Angeles County faces an unprecedented wildfire crisis. Millions are under threat as flames consume vast stretches of land. The current fire season, exacerbated by drought and high winds, has already surpassed previous years in terms of destruction.
Insurance in California is horrifying.
As wildfires continue to rage in California, one estimate says the insured losses are already at least $20 billion. In Altadena, Dustin and Aaron Rubin say they were dropped from another insurance company last year. It was only last month they finally found a company that would give them coverage. 7 of California's top 12 home insurers either paused or limited policies over the last 2 years. State Farm, which has 21% of the market share in the state, announced in March it was making the difficult but necessary decisions that would mean not renewing 30,000 home policies in the state, ending 69% of its policies in the now devastated Pacific Palisades. More and more Californians are turning to the state-created insurance provider of last resort called Fair Plan, a temporary safety net offering basic coverage when people can't get insured through private companies.
Firefighters are stretched thin, battling blazes on multiple fronts. The situation remains critical with thousands of acres already burned. The human cost is mounting as families are displaced and homes reduced to rubble. The air hangs heavy with smoke, creating hazardous breathing conditions for millions. This crisis underscores the vulnerability of urban areas to the increasing threat of wildfires.
We've been following the devastating wildfires burning in Southern California. New video overnight showing us the Palisades fire approaching the San Fernando Valley. Firefighters are continuing to battle the most catastrophic wildfires the county has ever seen. Our Charlie DeMar is there live in LA this morning. Sadly, Charlie, we now know that the death toll is climbing.
Suzanne, good morning. And tragically, that death toll does continue to rise. Where we are in the hard-hit Pacific Palisades neighborhood, we are standing in front of a multi-million-dollar home, or I should say what was a multi-million-dollar home, reduced just to rubble and twisted metal. But the threat is far from over. As you can see behind me, that glow, firefighters have been busy all night. That is the Palisades fire. They've been busy trying to make some effort with that fire. The Palisades fire at this point just 8% contained, and so many people here in Los Angeles received new evacuation orders late last night, including in the Brentwood neighborhood, which encompasses the Getty Center, a cultural icon here in LA. Firefighters brought in Chinooks to douse fierce flames racing towards Los Angeles neighborhoods. Residents facing the Palisades fire got new evacuation orders as the weekend began.
I took all of my family photos of my grandfather who's recently passed. You know, those are the only things that you can't recover, right?
Calmer winds helped firefighters gain some control of the biggest blazes on Friday, but winds are forecast to pick back up in an area that hasn't seen major rain in more than 8 months. And there's none in the forecast either.
People are watering down their homes here. You know, they're trying to get ahead of the game. People have to come together and help out, just like in the olden days.
In the heat of a fire's first moments, phone warnings are a potential lifesaver. But 10 million residents of LA County have received multiple false emergency evacuation warnings.
I want the residents of Los Angeles region to have faith. We are doing everything we can to bring the situation under control.
Californians are demanding to know who's at fault for these wildfires that have already wiped out over 12,000 structures. This as police are cracking down on looters.
The LAPD and our law enforcement partners are actively maintaining law and order in areas impacted by the fires.
National Guard troops are helping to protect property in the evacuation zone as firefighters work to battle blazes that have already destroyed 37,000 acres. Now the winds have died down here, hopefully giving firefighters a chance to make some progress with these wildfires, but unfortunately those winds are expected to pick back up later today. California Governor Gavin Newsom has already called for an independent investigation into some of the water issues that so many firefighters have experienced while they were trying to fight these fires, and a big question why a nearly 120-gallon reservoir was empty as these fires began to rage.
The Eaton fire, fueled by dry brush and strong winds, ripped through the foothills north of Los Angeles. The combination of high temperatures and low humidity created a perfect storm for the fire to spread rapidly. It has consumed over 10,000 acres, destroying hundreds of homes in its path.
And back now to the West Coast, firefighters are working tirelessly to contain the 5 wildfires currently burning in the Los Angeles area. The fires have scorched 30,000 acres and destroyed thousands of structures, that's homes and businesses. As firefighters fight a tough battle against these flames, the Los Angeles Fire Department Foundation is offering support to fire stations. And joining us now is Liz Lynn, the president of the Los Angeles Fire Department Foundation. Thank you for being here with us. I know how trying of a time this must be. What is your top priority right now? What does the foundation need?
Right now we are just looking at financial contributions and shows of support. What's most important for us right now is just gaining the funds to get them to the emergency equipment needs that they have. And then beyond that, to other equipment to resupply hoses and things like that.
The once vibrant neighborhoods now stand as silent witnesses to the fury of nature, with charred remains and scorched earth stretching as far as the eye can see. The Palisades fire, closer to the coast, has scorched over 5,000 acres, leaving behind a trail of charred homes and devastated landscapes. The coastal winds only served to fan the flames, making containment efforts even more challenging. The speed and intensity of these fires caught many residents off guard. In a matter of minutes, what seemed like a distant threat became an immediate danger, forcing people to make split-second decisions. Evacuation orders were issued, forcing thousands to flee their homes with little more than the clothes on their backs. The chaos of the evacuation was palpable, with families scrambling to gather their most precious belongings and pets. The scenes of devastation are heartbreaking, with entire neighborhoods reduced to ash and debris. The emotional toll on the residents is immeasurable as they return to find their homes and memories turned to rubble. The recovery process will be long and arduous for these communities.
Firefighters are facing another grueling day of battling massive blazes. The wildfires in LA have claimed the lives of at least 11 people and have destroyed 12,000 buildings. And more than 150,000 people have been forced to flee their homes, many not knowing where to go. This is video of the Ventura County Fire Department trying to save as many homes as possible as they try to put out the Kenneth fire in the Calabasas area.
And as we've been talking about, that fire is just one of 6 currently currently burning. The Kenneth fire has scorched over 1,000 acres. It is now 50% contained. Just a few miles away from the Kenneth fire is that massive Palisades fire that has wiped out entire communities, and that fire has charred more than 21,000 acres. It is currently 8% contained. East of that is the Eaton fire in Pasadena. That too has devastated entire communities, and that fire has burned 14,000 acres and is 3% contained. And meanwhile, a National Cities woman is still standing after that Eaton fire ripped through her neighborhood.
And it wasn't a miracle that saved her home, but instead a dear friend. ABC 10 News reporter Yasmin Ludi joins us live in studio to tell us more about this act of courage. Yasmin, good morning.
Good morning, Aaron and Moses. This was definitely an act of courage. When the Eaton fire started to get too close, Carla Saenz and her gardener, who lives on the property behind her home, left. But she told ABC 10 News she had no idea he went back to try to save her property. Altadena Street, now a sea of devastation. However, Carla Saenz' home for nearly 25 years is still standing. Early Wednesday morning, she and her gardener, Santiago Martinez, evacuated as the fire spread closer to her home. Martinez lives on her property in a room behind her house. Carla drove to National City to see her parents. Santiago said he was going to his daughter's house, but that wasn't true. He went back to save Carla's home. Using a garden hose, Martinez doused her house for hours. He eventually flagged down fire crews to help.
Just so grateful to him. He's definitely an angel that the Lord put in my path. I really believe that. And he's humble. He wouldn't even want to talk about it. It's no big deal, you know. That's Santiago Martinez. That's Santiago Martinez.
While Carla's house was saved, Martinez lost everything. The room where he lived on the property and all of his gardening tools. It was a true act of selflessness, and a GoFundMe was started to help Martinez replace all of his tools.
The road to recovery will be long and challenging, but the people of Los Angeles are no strangers to overcoming adversity. With the support of each other, their communities, and the nation, they will rebuild their lives and their city. From the ashes of this tragedy, a stronger, more resilient Los Angeles will probably emerge. Check out my latest video on the screen, and also check out the video that YouTube has selected for you based on your viewing history.